Welcome to the NBA Prop Report for Thursday, July 8th. We are in Game 2 of the NBA Finals between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns. There are three prop bets that we're looking at here today, so let's get into them. The first one I want to talk about is Giannis Antetokounmpo rebounds. This number is actually 11.5 in a lot of places. FanDuel, one of the few places that has it at 12.5, and they're offering a payout of plus 110 on it. You can find it at 11.5 for like minus 125-ish in a lot of other spots. But this is one of those ones where I think Giannis goes way above this number. He had 17 rebounds in the first game. And one of the things the Bucks realized in game one is that when they have Brook Lopez on the floor, they cannot defend the pick and roll, the high pick and roll. I mean, basically, Chris Paul is just running off of DeAndre Ayton, trying to get that switch over to Brook Lopez. And then they were either taking advantage of Chris Paul with Brook Lopez guarding him or dumping the ball down inside to DeAndre Ayton on a much smaller defender who was guarding Chris Paul on the switch. What the Bucks did in the fourth quarter is they went with a quote-unquote small ball lineup where Giannis was the center. And Giannis coming out, stepping out on Chris Paul over there is a much different matchup for them than, when you have a guy like Brook Lopez who can't really move his feet. Even Giannis at less than 100%. Is still somebody with long arms, still somebody who's more athletic, still somebody who can at least keep Chris Paul in front of him and, make some of those passes a little tougher for him to throw. So I do think they're going to wind up using that small ball lineup a little bit more here. We may even see less than the 23 or 24 minutes that Brook Lopez played in game one. And you may see more minutes with Giannis at center, which should help his rebounding number. Like I said, I like the 11.5 at minus 125, but I actually took the 12.5 number for FanDuel at plus 110. Basically building off that same one is Brook Lopez points. So Brook Lopez in the last series in games that Giannis was playing, his prop number was like 10.5, 11.5 for points scored. The games that Giannis was out, that number bumped up to 15.5, which makes sense because in games that he played with Giannis this year, he averaged, I think it was 11.8 points. Games he played without Giannis, that jumped up to about 15.8, just shy of 16. But now when we're looking at it, Giannis is back. Yet Lopez is in that middle range somewhere at 13.5. This number should be 11.5 or 12.5 would have even been the point where I said, all right, I think it's a little high, but I'm probably not going to play it. At 13.5, though, I definitely want to play the downside of this number. Some sites already realized the 13.5 number that this opened at was a problem, and they moved it down to 12.5 at like minus 105 or minus 110. I'd rather play the under 13.5 at minus 130 here, because I do think that Brook Lopez is going to play less minutes tonight. And again, he scored well last game, but he shot 3 for 5 from the 3-point line. He's not going to shoot 60% every game. So you lose a couple points there. He loses a couple points because I think his minutes are going to be down here today. If this number was at 11.5 or 12.5, I probably wouldn't touch it in either direction. At 13.5, though, I do like the under for it. I do like the downside there. DraftKings right now, you can still get this number at minus 130. And then moving over to the other side, the only thing I'm really looking at on the Phoenix side, I do like Mikal Bridges points. You can find this number at 10.5 in a bunch of places for like minus 125 or so. I would rather play the 11.5 number that BetMGM and William Hill have it at because we're getting even money on that for the payout there. Remember, there's no Dario Saric anymore, so they're getting a little bit thinner in that rotation, which is going to mean some more minutes for Mikal Bridges. And the way I see this game playing out is that they're going to try to take Chris Paul out of this game, probably put Drew Holiday on him as they did in the fourth quarter there. And then have Giannis and the small ball center doing a lot more of the doubling on him. So that's going to force Chris Paul to have to give up the ball. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of Chris Paul hockey assist here where, he gets doubled, he gives up the ball, and then that next pass finds the open man. And Mikal Bridges, man, is going to be one of those guys that's scrambling and rotating. So he's going to have chances cutting, dumping to the basket there. Also chances to hit some jump shots in the corner. Things that he has done this year. In high-tempo games this year, he has been a guy who scored a lot of points. And by a lot of points, I don't mean like 25, 30. He's not a guy that's going to go for 25, 30 points. But we don't need him to. We need him to get 12 to 15, somewhere in there. And, he's going to cash this over for us. So this is actually my favorite play of the day. I took it at BetMGM for 3/4 of a unit, even money, over 11.5 on Mikal Bridges. So that wraps it up for the three bets we're looking at here tonight for the NBA Prop Report for Thursday, July 8th, here at FTN Bets on the FTN Network. Good luck, everybody.